Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got a fantastic guest for you today from the Atlanta area, Carol Dunlop. And she is going to talk to us all about maximizing your online presence with a wow website. She's also going to talk about converting marketing into money as a purpose-driven entrepreneur, talking about authorship, podcasting, and for the audience that's really interested in becoming an influencer, Carol is a great guest to have on the show. So, Carol, welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I like that intro. Yes, convert marketing into money. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we have, it seems like I already know you so well. And so kind of set the stage, talk about what you do, how you got there, and how you can help benefit the audience.
Sure thing. Well, long time ago in 1994, my husband and I got married. So we just celebrated our 30 years together. Yay!
Wow.
And he said, "You're such a good artist and designer. You should not be working a regular job." And I was like, hallelujah, somebody is recognizing that because I am not the job employee person. And he said, let's start a business because he came in already having a business and he had sold it or whatever. And he says, we're going to make some money helping these entrepreneurs out there get on the World Wide Web. At that time, I was like, what is that? www, what you talking about? So we did it. We started doing web design for people who understood the power of, or the upcoming power of the internet, the www, all of that stuff. And we've done that for the last 30 years. But let's say about maybe 15 years ago, we realized that all the pretty websites in the world are not going to do you any good if nobody comes to them. So we started doing marketing with our people, showing them how they could use social media, content marketing, and email marketing to actually drive people to the wow website that we were building for them. That went over really well. And then I knew that I wanted to write a book. I mean, I've been a writer a writer forever, but never wrote the actual book. I wrote like little ebooks and stuff. I used to be a personal trainer as well. So I'd write stuff for my clients and all that. And I said, I'm going to write a book. So what did I do? I got with two other ladies, started a business. It was called Write Books That Sell Now. And they kind of taught me how to put a book together, put it out there and all of that. We actually kept that going for about 3 years. And then we, went our separate ways. And that first book that I did, Unmarket Your Business, 10 Ways for Savvy Entrepreneurs to Stand Out, Stop Struggling, and Start Profiting, went to Amazon #1 international bestseller. I was like, well, I guess I did that, right? So a few years went by. That was in 2017. And then the pandemic hit. And right as the pandemic was hitting, a friend of mine told me to go to this online challenge that one of her friends was having. And she said, the first day of it, she said, I can show you how to write a book in 5 days, a guided journal, and you only need one question. I was like, what? That sounds good. So I continued to go to the training, but by the second day, I already knew that I was going to do this. And I was operating this coaching program called Unmarketing Inner Circle. So I invited all my students to come in to the book. I charged them a nominal fee. It was like $97 or something. I was like, we can put this book out there. And I was like, I wonder if I can do bestseller again. And I did. We all hit bestseller. So I was like, yay, we did that. And then I was like, well, so I had, contributors in that one. So then I did a solo book called I Am a Money Magnet. I want to see, can I do it again? I did it again. So that in 2017, that started it. And now I'm a 9-time best-selling author, soon to be 10, because I just released another book that's for fathers, for dadpreneurs. And that's how we help our clients to get their names out there, because, we were talking about marketing. Nobody wants to market. Nobody understands marketing. They don't know what to do. They're spending too much money on marketing. They don't know which marketing thing to do. So I make it really simple. I call it the best unmarketing strategy. And that is to write a best-selling book, host an influential podcast like this one, and then create an expert summit, because those things get you out in front of people and you really don't have to pay any money for it, right? So you are capitalizing and getting some ROI on your effort, not necessarily your money. And I've done that since I want to say 2013. I've done that.
Yeah.
Podcasts, summits, and then books since 2017. So I only do what I preach. I only preach what I do.
Yeah, and we'll talk about sounds like because you have a flywheel, sounds like you take a lot of different things and you put it into a funnel. And so
Mm-hmm.
kind of talk about, for the audience, these idea of funnels. What is your top of funnel and then what's your bottom funnel? And then sounds like, we were talking how you can record one video and then it can go out as a blog, as a Twitter
Mm-hmm.
tweet, as a YouTube. Kind of talk about this flywheel as well.
Okay. Yeah. I hadn't thought about it like that,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's what it is. Cause you got to have one main thing that's really drawing people in. And for me, that's going to be my podcast. I had a podcast a few years ago and I got it up to 10,000 downloads a week. I was like, woo. But then,
Wow.
you know how you just kind of change and stuff. And that was actually for my fitness business. And then I was like, I need something for this business for the web design. So I created the Unmarket Your Business podcast talking about these non-traditional, low cost, no cost ways that you can actually monetize your business, right? And I stopped doing it for a while because I was kind of off to the book thing. And now I'm circling back around, and the podcast is going to be our main thing because if you can get into somebody's head, they're listening to you, you're actually in their pocket or they're in your pocket, and they will listen to you and they will listen to you, and then they will start to know, like, and trust you, and then they will buy from you. So after they listen to me in the podcast, they're kind of in my funnel and
Uh-huh.
they're thinking about, oh, could she help me with my book? Could she help me with my website? Could she help me with a summit? Because I talk about all those things. This is not necessarily a lot of money to do them, but you can make a lot of money off of them if you do them correctly. So the podcast is the main thing. And then as they get in, I show them, hey, this is what I did. This is how I took a book. Well, actually, I took my blog, turned it into the book, that first book, Unmarket Your Business, turned it into a blog. And then to promote the book, I started the podcast and I had the summit. So they were all going round and round. And then I got clients from the podcast, clients from the summit, clients from the book. And then I told them, you need to write a book. And so they did it. So it kind of starts like all over again. And you need a website to showcase your podcast and showcase your summit. And so your books can, people can go to your website and look at your books and all of that. So that's kind of how we bring everything together because you can't just do one thing. You can't just put a book out there and think that everybody and their mother, brother, and sister is going to buy it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
How many $20 books do you have to sell to make even $1,000, right? But you can use the power of that book and go inside and use those stories and turn it into a blog and do blog posts from it. You can take those blog posts, create a video out of it, put that video on YouTube. Then you can spread that word out there, take the audio out of it, put it on Spotify, and then more people are listening to you. So you can just grow what you're doing organically and not have to spend a lot of money on ads. Because I don't use any ads. I don't use any ads at all. Nothing against ads. I just don't feel confident enough to do them. I've done them before, but I make more money, get more clients out of the stuff that I'm doing rather than throwing my money to ads.
Yeah. And so, yeah, because you can do, I mean, you can do shorts, and then if you have good SEO, if you have an email list. And so you talked about books, podcasts, and summits. So books, for a lot of individuals, they want to write a book. What are the essential steps in process of writing and promoting a best-selling book? Did you go through a publisher or you self-published it, and share some success stories of clients who turned their books into powerful marketing tools?
Sure, I'd be glad to. No, I self-published. I became a publisher just quite by accident because when you go to Amazon and open an account, you're actually a publisher and you can actually publish your own stuff or publish other people's stuff. And when I figured that out, I was like, whoa, talk about not just giving somebody something to eat, teaching them how to fish, to catch the stuff and all of that. I was like, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. The main thing about getting a book to bestseller is you have to realize that Amazon wants you to do certain things like they want you to do it. Because I have a book right now with a client. We've been going back and forth with Amazon. They don't like something on the cover, and they never tell you exactly what it is that they don't like or that they want you to do. They just say generally, make sure that your text isn't covering up something. I was like, it's not. So we've been going we've been going back and forth for a couple of days now. So hopefully last iteration, because what I did was, and I don't think I've ever done this before. I have a picture in the background and it's very light and I have text on top of it. Apparently Amazon doesn't like that. So they keep saying, you know, the text is being obscured or whatever. So I took the whole thing off, made it a black background because this book has a black and white cover. Hopefully that will go. But mainly you need to look at three things when you get ready to do a book. Who is your audience? What is their biggest problem? And how can you solve it? So if your book is the how you can help solve their problem, who is it that you're talking to? Like, is it old men, young women, busy moms, nuns coming out of a convent who want to get back into life? Who is it? Who is it that you're talking to? And then you have to figure out what is their biggest problem. And if you structure your book to address their problem, then they're going to buy it because they go, oh, that's for me. I didn't know that was out there. Let me get that right now. And even with the books I do now, and they're mostly journals that I do, because, when that whole low content book came out and everybody's like, oh, low content. Yeah, it's great. Nope. You don't have to write anything, just a bunch of pages, make a notebook. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. But what I am doing is making a journal that will make you think and help, when you go into it one way and you come out of the journal, you are a changed person. So I call it low content, high value books, because there's a journal in there where you can write, but there's also stories, there's text, there's information. So I don't classify it as a low content because you get a lot out of it. And in that, working in that, I've helped quite a few, almost 70 authors to become best-selling authors since 2020 that have come to my books, done their own books, and gone on to become multiple best-selling authors and use that book as a cornerstone for their business.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing is, what's interesting is for the audience, talk about, because, for example, the days of like John Grisham or Michael Crichton or J.K. Rowling, these are kind of like, like they, make millions or millions on it. But talk about, for the majority of, indie authors, talk about, kind of sales from books versus the use of the book as a marketing tool to get coaching or sponsorships or other things.
Exactly. That's the thing. J.K. Rowling can put a book out right now today, just drop it and say, hey, I got a book. She's going to make $1 million right away. Michelle Obama, the Clintons, any big name person who's out there, they can do a book off anything and make money. But, us, Jim and John Schmo, are not going to be doing that. And like I said, how many books do you have to sell to make a whole lot of money anyway? It's not really about the book. It's actually bigger than the book. The book is just one thing that can go into your marketing toolkit that can help you get speaking engagements and all kind of things. Because you think about it this way, if the book is in the middle and it's $20, right? Would you rather sell a $20 book or get a $2,500 speaking gig? Or maybe make $5,000 on a summit or $10,000, or maybe taking a client that's going to pay you $2,500, or maybe a $5,000 website. The book is just the seed that helps people realize, oh, you hear awareness. It increases awareness. And then once they get into the book, because you can't tell them your whole story in the book. I don't care what you say. You can't put everything into the book. You can only put pieces. And if people want more, they have to actually hire you, come be with you or whatever. That's where you make your money. When you're telling them, I can help you do these things, I can coach you, or I can teach you, or I can create this or whatever. That's where the real money is. But the book itself is something that you put out there as that little nugget or seed and say, hey, I'm here. Come and see all the stuff that I can do. And then you got them. You get them in there, you treat them well, and then you step them up. A perfect example of me getting clients and my clients getting clients is one of my actually my biz bestie. We've been collaborating for a few years now. She actually came around and finally wrote her book. I finally got her to do it. I published the book. She put it out there. She had six co-authors in there with her in the book. One of the ladies, and I was one of the co-authors in her book as well. So one of the ladies that was in there, she was like, oh, Carol, you do websites. I was like, yeah. So right after the book was done, she was like, I need you to do my website. So boom, there was $5,000 right there. But Nadine has also taken that book that she was doing that she became bestseller with, and she's created the book is called Activate Your Faith. So she created an Activate Your Faith mastermind. She created an Activate Your Faith club where they were talking about the book and stuff. And then she's gone on. Even before that, she has the Women, Faith, and Business podcast, and then she does summits as well. So she's one of the ones who's followed exactly what I told her to do. And now she's making the money that she wants to make. And I've got other clients who have, come in on pieces of it. They've created several best-selling books, or they've done a couple of summits, or they got podcasts going. So it's a lot of organic stuff going on out there. And none of these people are spending money on ads, but they are making money in their business.
Yeah. And then talking about podcasts, because a lot of people are they're like, yeah, I have they're like, yeah, no, I don't need a podcast. I don't need a YouTube channel. But talk about why, podcasts can be a very influential tool for your brand, just for information and, for getting clients or getting sponsors. Talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you think about a podcast, you're coming into people's brains when they're listening to you, or they're watching you, or they're going up to your site and reading the show notes or whatever. You're getting to them. They're understanding you. They're like, that sounds pretty good. And most podcasts are going to be at least weekly. So every week they're getting to look forward to you, right? So you do the podcast. I've just started doing video podcasting. So that was something different. I only did audio before, but now I have the video on one hand. I put it up on YouTube. I take the audio, put it on Spotify, and then I take the audio and the video and do a show notes page, which is really like a blog, and put that on my site. So I have YouTube bringing me people, have Spotify bringing me people, and I have my blog kind of showcasing everything, because your blog is your hub. And people who say, I don't need a podcast. Well, you need something. You need some kind of way to advertise yourself, to promote yourself, to put yourself out there, because you're either going to spend a lot of money to do it, or you're going to spend the time to do it. So, there's no freebie out there at all. You spend money or spend time.
Yeah. The other question is this idea, because people are like, because most people are consuming through video or short form, and then they're like, they're like, nah, I don't need a newsletter, I don't need a blog. But you do everything. So why do you have a written presence?
Well, the thing is, people on social media, and any social media platform, are fickle. They like you today, they unlike you tomorrow. They're with you today, they're gone tomorrow. And if something happens to that platform, for instance, remember MySpace? Who remembers MySpace? Remember MySpace? That was the it thing. I was on it. I had stuff on it and everything. And then Facebook came along, just wiped them out. But, those things can go, they come and they go. But your website is your hub. It doesn't come and go. Your website is the only thing that you control. And what you put on your website, nobody can tell you to take it down. They can't put you in Facebook jail or Instagram jail and stop you from talking, stop your blog. They can't do anything. So when everything else is down, your website is still there. So what do? You put your podcast on your website. You put all the videos, the audios, you put everything, because it's the hub for your business. It's the place that everybody needs to go to find out everything there is to know about you. And instead of relying on these social media platforms that may or may not get you rich. And even if the big thing right now is TikTok, right? They're talking about, the US is going to cancel TikTok or shut it down, and ByteDance is fighting back. No, you can't do that to us. And we've got all these people, marginalized people, who are on TikTok making six figures off just dancing and stuff, right? What they need to do is take that dance and put it on their website. Do some videos, put it on your website. Yes, use TikTok, but also use Instagram, use Facebook, use all these things. Just today, I'm doing a collaboration with another colleague of mine, and she talks about trauma in the Black community, really, and for Black women specifically, right? So we're going to do a collab on July 2nd. So she did all the graphics and stuff, and I'm just posting it. I tried to start a live stream, set up a live stream on Facebook. They were like, no. I don't know why. No, I think it was the black, the trauma, any of those words. They were like, no. But YouTube doesn't have a problem with it. So you got to find the places where you can put your stuff out there that people aren't regulating you and, trying to silence you. So even though we couldn't get on Facebook, okay, I know I can probably put it on Twitter and we know we're going to be putting it on YouTube. So it's automatically on my website. So that's the power. The power is not in giving all this marketing prominence to all these social media accounts. The thing is, your website should be first. First thing you think about, how can I get people to my website? And that's what you use social media for, to send them to your website. Your podcast, send them to your website. All of that.
Yeah, I love that. It's all about control and ownership. And, a lot of these social media platforms, they're actually designing algorithms to maximize views for their advertisers and
Yep.
not really for you yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and then also I've noticed that if you contact support, it's almost like going into the dark ages. There's nobody. It's
No.
like so
No, I don't know. I don't know where it goes. It's bots that answer you. If you're trying to even report someone who's trying to, impersonate you, it
yeah,
just thank you, and then
yeah,
may or may not get fixed. You don't know. And how is that to run a business, right?
yeah,
How is that? So
yeah.
they can't even talk to the people that they're trying to help that platform get the word out. Don't bother with them. Go back to your website, do all the stuff on your website, and just use that social media stuff to bring people back to your website.
Yeah, I love that. Next question I have is summits. And what's interesting is I knew that summits became really prominent during COVID because everybody was at home and then but
Yeah.
but then after that I noticed because I did webinars and
Mm-hmm.
coaching, but then after the world reopened, people are back in their normal lives, so they don't really do these summits anymore. Talk about how you have to leverage virtual and online summits and
Mm-hmm.
events to build a community.
Well, the main thing about it is your summit has to be interesting. If it's just dull or just a bunch of people that are there to talk about some thing, nobody's going to attend, even if it's free. So, again, you have to know who your audience is, what their problem is, and how you solve it. And then you build a summit around there. The other thing I see people do is they have these 55,000 people in the summit, and they do that purposely so that you can say, oh, I can never keep up with this, so I might as well buy the package. I don't do that. I want people to get a lot out of, I want them to get value out of what I'm presenting. So and I do 1 day summits. I start at like 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 or 10, and I'll go to about between 3 and 5, depending on how many people I have. And it's like 15 minutes for each person, which is enough for you to digest and go on to the next. And it's just 1 day. Yes, I'm tired when I finish, but I feel so fulfilled when I'm done and people love it. And it's just 1 day, it's done, it's over. And I still make money because I still sell the packages. And then when people see me, especially they're seeing me back to back to back interviewing all these people in the summit, they're going to say, oh, I want something from you, or I need a website, or I need to know how to do a summit myself. And that's how I get my clients. So I don't care if the people are at home, if they're at work, if they're whatever. If you make something interesting to them that solves their problem, they're going to find a way to get to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so how can, because I really enjoyed this talk. So
Thank you.
and you manage a lot of different projects and different venues, and so you're taking a multi strategy approach. And how can people find you and reach out to you and check out your work and then maybe even work with you?
Well, awesome. Well, thank you for that. And I've enjoyed this so much. So if you want to find out more about me, my website is the place to go because like I said, I preach what I do and I do what I preach. So go to csicorporation.com, and I have a special free gift for your audience. I'm going to give you a free website planner. And I created this because most people don't know what to do first, second, or third when they're trying to figure out, what do I put on my website? How do I put it up? What do I need? So we created a planner. It's absolutely free. If you go to csicorporation.com/planner, you can download it. It's our free gift to you so you can make your own wow website and stop using all that other stuff and get people come to your site so you can make some money.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and I love your approach, and I love your you have a lot of insights for the audience to really benefit from. So for the audience, be sure to check out Carol's website and her socials. Give her a like and follow. All these will be in the links in the show notes. Check out her summit. Reach out to her for coaching. And with that, thanks so much for coming on.
Well, thank you so much for having me.